Welcome to what's been called the raw and unfiltered Zimbabwean fan voice, ZW fans and legends show. Whenever we don't do twerking, we say it as it is. And I want to welcome my co-hosts, Ray and Kelvin, to this week's episode as we discuss the various events that's been happening in our football. How have you been, guys? Good.
Hello.
Good. Yeah. A lot has been happening, right? Since we last spoke. And we have a lot to discuss. So since we last spoke, it looks like Magwizi managed to find another big sponsorship deal, which was the Munhumutapa Cup, which is sponsored to the tune of 25 million over 5 years. They're saying the whole package is 5 million per year, with some of the funds going to junior football, some going to women's football, then some going to the senior men's football. Although I saw that the junior football was allocated only 100,000 per year, which is very strange if the whole cup is sponsored to the tune of 5 million. But yeah, it seems like a good thing. The president was there to launch it as well. So yeah, Ray, do you have something positive to say about Magwizi after this? He seems to be managing to be pulling in some funds.
I don't know, as in terms of saying he's pulling in sponsorships, right? 25 million, that's a big package. But to allocate 100,000 to the junior league, that's
I'm Sutanga Matende.
no, look, no. Let's because look, we're thankful for whoever, which obviously is the government, whoever brought in the 25 million Andia, because that's why the president was there.
Yeah.
25 million. That's a lot of money. In 5 years, that's a good package with a good monetary value. But it's the way now that the money is distributed. You give a juniors 100,000. Well, what are they going to do? How many juniors are we talking about? How many junior teams are we talking about here? Are we talking statewide or we're just talking about Harare and Bulawayo? Because
that
obviously,
100,000 was for everyone.
you see, this is what I'm saying. If 100,000 is for everyone, how many teams are we talking about? Where are they coming from? Is it just the prize money? Is it going to be used for development? For whatever reason it is that's going to be used for, it's not enough. It's not out of the 5 million. Okay, let's just say for hypothetically out of 5 million, if they allocated 1.5 million to the men's game and it got 1.5 to the women's game, 3 million, that leaves 2 million. And then allocate another million to the juniors, another million to whatever. It would go a long way to serve a purpose than situation where you just give 100,000. 100,000 before we even go anywhere, could I go per each team for participation fee? Yatopera. Because imagine a team coming from Chiredi, coming to play to Okwarare or going to Bulawayo. Look at the distance. Transport, accommodation.
Most likely, maybe it will be. They will start first Warima area zones out, then Anengwazo win.
Yeah, I don't know, but look, give credit where it's due. That's a big thumbs up to the government for bringing that money, 25 million. No, that's a lot. Sponsorship, and especially for one cup. But I would not be clapping and seeing the men's game be allocated 2 million, the women's game 2 million. and then the other million is distributed to the little ones. These are the ones that need more money than the girls up there. You know what I mean? These guys
No,
need
they
the young
actually
ones.
said 100,000 to the juniors. 100,000.
That's a joke. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, that's a joke. I'm not going to sit here and sanitize Zakadaro. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah.
We already have a problem
Kev, you.
with
I followed, to be honest, I've been so busy, and as you've seen that I've not been,
Yeah.
chatting a lot, and so I followed it, and I've seen the issue with the 25 million, and all the other issues. It's just that I haven't gone into them, in
The
depth.
detail.
But I think it's a wonderful thing, to happen in our football. To have that money come in. But I think the important part, from that money would have been the allocation, because it's a lot of money. But if it's not allocated properly or effectively, then probably
Yeah.
it won't realize, the worth or the value that it should have. Because, like Ray just said, I think we know how dead our junior football policy has been, and we would need, sort of find a way of bringing about, that change, and not just, what this academy, thing, but on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Because it's not everyone who can go into an academy, but we might have a lot of players who are being left out because maybe they live in remote locations and so forth. So that's the reason why a lot of money would have needed to go into development, because there's already money that's been flying around, in the Premier League, so I don't think that it's a question of putting more money into it. It's more about looking at the future, because even the 25 million being 5 million a year for 5 years, that shows that they're not just thinking about today, they're thinking about tomorrow as well. So how best, to think about tomorrow, than to just put more money, allocated to young people. Because Premier League, if we're looking at Premier League or even with the divisions, their numbers are nowhere near the numbers that are of teams of junior clubs and or junior football that could be, sort of raised in the whole of Zimbabwe. So I would actually think, something in the region of 2 million maybe could have easily gone to football development, because we're not looking at, I don't think we should be looking at paying good money or salaries to existing Premier League players, because they already have, whether it's contracts or whatever, they have money that's allocated to them already by their clubs, on how much they get paid. So this money should be more developmental rather than rewarding, because it goes back now to the point where people would say, is there proper due diligence, with, when that money is availed? Because, you can have a sponsor, sometimes you could have a sponsor who has zero idea about football, but they would need the football brains, to come in and say, okay, before we announce, this money that you're bringing in, we think that money would suit going to A, B, C, D. Of course, I know sometimes the sponsors could say no, but you have to give them the ideas, that you could get a lot of mileage from bringing up, being the ones who literally got the ball rolling into getting the junior football back on the map, So by the time that announcement is done, the sponsor already knows, and alongside the football association, they already know that we're going to put a lot of money into junior football. But the way that I have heard that is going, especially like with this 100,000, and I'm thinking, what does 100,000 do? Because young people don't get paid wages, but it's about the structure, the fields, what the kids, what the foods and everything, they don't get a penny being paid to them. but there is so much money that's needed for resources. And if we're being honest about it, I don't think 100,000, for me, I don't think 100,000 a year would be even enough for just Harare alone.
Yeah.
On development,
Yeah.
football teams. I don't think so.
Yeah. It's a bit tricky. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
the other good thing about that cup is they have introduced the English FA style format whereby teams in the lower divisions will also be participating. So that seems like a good thing to expose some lower division teams and probably motivate them. So yeah, that would be a good thing. Related to the football development, we saw the ZPSL starting last week, and we saw the first game being played to Chahwanda Stadium, and there were quite a number of fans who went there. But unfortunately, from what we unfortunately, the pitch did not seem to be up to scratch. Of course, I think it's been raining, but for the first game, it looks like when they did the construction, they didn't really look at the drainage of the pitch. So this weekend, it seems like it was raining all over Zimbabwe. So in Triangle, they had waterlogged pitches, so it was really comical to watch some of the videos. And then Dynamos still one game had to be postponed from Saturday to Sunday morning, and then it had to be postponed again to Sunday afternoon because of the waterlogged pitch. We also saw Rufaro Stadium. I think it's now the second or the third game that was played there in the past weekend, but the pitch again was not looking good at all. And there've been some reports and videos circulating of the toilets at Rufaro looking very, very, very bad. And so I was wondering, we were off season, and this is the first match day. Why are we having such issues with the pitches and the stadium in the very first game?
Really, I'm trying to trying to put it in a way that will make sense. When whenever something is constructed, whether it's a road, whether it's a building, whatever, there are civil engineers, there are plumbers, there are electricians, there are whatever, the guys that are called together. Each one has to play a part. And every stadium, just like National Sports Stadium. Remember just when they talked about the drainage system being blocked or something. That's why water was staying there. But it had that drainage system. Every stadium is supposed to have a drainage system. So my question is, when these stadiums were being constructed, were the civil engineers or the plumbers or whoever is in charge of making sure that drainage system is there? Were they even consulted? Were they even there? Because how does a stadium get constructed from scratch? Because every stage, there should be markers that are, there should be checklists that are ticked to say, this is in place, this is in place. How did those stadiums get to that level of being constructed, until they're certified, ready for use?
Yeah.
Without that drainage system issue being identified, but it's not there. That's the first point. See, something has to be done. We can't be taking shortcuts. Something has to be done. We can't be taking shortcuts. And then recently we're seeing that Chahwanda Stadium was approved for CAF, whatever. If CAF sees that, so if it rains, no games are going to be played then. So how did CAF get to approve that without seeing without these tick boxes? You know what I mean? And then secondly, look, we well done to Chahwanda and Hard Rock for actually having that stadium in Kwekwe. That's a huge thing. Like I've said before in other podcasts, it's a huge thing for Midlands. It's a huge win that all these big teams get there. Even the crowd that was there at the game, You could tell, like, this is huge. It's going to go a long way. Right. And then there was the issue of the price. $10 expensive. Do you know what I saw? Do you
Yeah.
know what I saw in that game? Someone was standing on the bucket seats in that stadium. Now, you don't need rocket science to tell you. You don't go in and take a dump at the corner and then complain with someone is dumping the crap in my house. It's there for your use. Sit down. Why can't you sit down on the bucket seat? They were standing on it. And if those things break down, guess who'll be the first guy to complain? The same people. Vakumira pa
Yeah.
bucket seats here. Change our behavior, you know?
Yeah.
And then lastly, I don't know how match commissioners, how referees in their assistant referees are appointed or what mandate they have. I saw a video apparently of a ref trying to assess if the ground was fit for a game to be
That was
played.
it, Ascot.
Mushi, this guy, Akakanda Bhora. I hope you find that clip, Mushi. Akakanda Bhora. He tried to kurova so.
And
Mushi,
it didn't bounce.
Bhora, not even bounce. Bhora, not more than 60 meters. And he kept on going around. Common sense will tell you, if you've played before, if you played the game before, wakatamba kuchinaya, you know kuchinaya aritambe because everything goes left very quick. And then they actually let those games go on. Then I saw my clips, Simba Bhora.
I think that was Triangle. I'm not sure. It was
Gentlemen,
comical.
Gentlemen, what I saw there, that's more than comical. I don't know what to call that. That was utter nonsense. That was rubbish. Why it was allowed to go on? And when you reach these guys will get injured. Because the ground, it's wet and all that. And then to have officials stand there, and actually say, this game must go ahead, and say this game must go ahead. What is the ZPSL doing? We always come back to the same thing. We have the wrong people in the wrong positions near the Bhora. We're not going anywhere. That's why we end up giving 100,000 to juniors. Bhora. Call off the game. We know Kutichi. We know Kuti people have been waiting for the season to start. But the season cannot start under such conditions. We want to Tangaka. Let the game flow. We want to see flow. You can't tell the team is going to do that because ground workers Ramadan. How do you tell team do that? You can't say you cannot do that. You cannot judge a team. I'm telling you, there was, and then there was issue put on the Chahwanda Stadium, Sipa and there, very red area. It's very madaka. Look, we understand the field itself. There's work to be done because of Madaka, but you can't use that and say, hey, Pane Madaka. You can't. The problem, the equity people use NSS as a benchmark for every stadium in Zimbabwe. NSS was done with full funding and it was done proper. NSS was done proper. But, for a single person to go to that level and bring a stadium like Chahwanda, he did very well. Look, those are
the
things
council
that
has to come in there.
Thank you very much. Because they get something from gate takers, don't they? Help the guy. You can't let one man do everything. He's done enough. For me, he's done enough to make the stadium be ready for the games. But ZPSL, Maref, and then when authorize them, like I said, stadiums, no. We need to do better. Honestly, we need to do better. We can't have Bhora in such conditions. Ask coach Gibo. That was a joke. That, to actually have those guys running there was the first mistake, the first wrong call. So they've called the game off, Ajite, we can't play because the ground is waterlogged. Because what happens now is if you let them play and in the next ref to say we can't play, Achans go Wakatamba say. So you can never fix it because Richard Vakatamba say. So now we're not in there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think though from pitches, I think a simple test that you have on a pitch, because whenever we played football and whenever we play and there's bad weather and all that, if it's cold, the teams don't even get there, because they will just send a ref or maybe a local ref if it's a ref coming from far, and just put their studs on or put their studs or their molds. And if it's too hard, and there's ice, and then it's not going to go ahead for safety reasons. If it's been raining, they'll just bounce the ball, throw the ball in the air, and when it comes down, it bounces. Then they're looking at whether the whole pitch is like that. If there's areas where they feel that there's a bit more water, but if the water is shifted, then the game can be played. Then they'll ask, groundsmen, to try to get that water off. But if you see the majority of the pitch or a large portion of the pitch where you can throw the ball and it just sits, it doesn't bounce, that tells you that pitch is not fit to be used. Yeah, I saw a clip. I'm not even sure which teams they were, but I saw a clip from home where it was just ridiculous. Our players, like you're running with the ball and you leave it behind because it's water. That straight away, it's a given that matches like that should be postponed. The problem we have is, as a country, we've got used to unprofessionalism to an extent where I think the benchmark is more on the basis of, but we've done worse than this. I think that's that mentality, that we have. We could do worse than this. So really, as long as we can run on the pitch and we can actually play the game, regardless of whether there is rain or not, is still okay. So we're accepting things that are not okay because we think we've done worse. So it's creating a problem, because I think like you said, how do you then justify canceling the next game if you allow this game to be played? Because the standards now seem to be a pitch like that is playable, and yet it's not. So this is where you think PSL or even ZIFA, if PSL is allowing games like that to come to continue, ZIFA should be coming hard on them and say this is not acceptable, because this is not about PSL just fulfilling their fixtures, but it's about the safety of the players and the fans. Yeah, and I don't think there was any safety issue that was considered on there. And then coming to the pictures where I've seen people, like stood on the chairs. It's just stupidity at best, it's just dumb people, where you realize how I hope that we're never going to say as a country we are so, we so lack our respect, for our own property, because if I break that chair, that chair, then the next time I come to the game, what that means, that's one less seat, and then 2, then 10, then 20. Yeah. And then it don't look the part, and then CAF cannot use the pitch and all that, so people just, for a grown up adult, to be seen standing on there, you question yourself and say, what drives you to be so dumb and stupid, to do, things like that, because at the end of the day, we have to respect our property. It's our property. That pitch, was built by that guy, but he built it for the community, so you put those chairs so that people can have somewhere to sit, not somewhere to stay. So, which is a very disappointing and very wrong. And then when it comes as well, the last thing, to drainage, of the pitches as well. So, yeah, of course, like you said, the benchmark was on National Sports Stadium, which was done properly. And this pitch, normally when you're having an individual doing it, sometimes, and with the greatest respect, for the guy, probably it can be difficult to have money to do exactly what you want to do. You know, certain things you might have to end up going, sort of cutting corners here. So,
Or
but
lack of knowledge.
but there's a bare minimum you would have done. But when there's no drainage, it creates a problem. Probably if it was a time when it's not raining, the pitch would be great. This is where, again, you think that should our local authorities, the city councils, PSL, ZIFA, should they not be helping people who are coming up with such brilliant ideas, because that pitch is, if it's being used for their associations to benefit from as well. Surely they've got to help, they've got to help people like that. Without the help, then you're going to have a pitch like that which has no drainage, and that's sad because the guy has done his best, but I think there's a point when he needs the help.
Yeah, but Kelly, my question is this: from the onset, from the when they started, the clearing the land and all that, and to get that stadium done, there are civil engineers there, there are surveyors there, okay? I don't know whoever else is involved in the anti. From the time the graders came in to clear the land, stage by stage, like when they're making roads, you have surveyors, you have everything. When they first take the first layer, there are guys who do tests and say, let's do it again. And then when it's compacted, there are guys who come and say, let's compact again, put more. You see, my question is, when it started from that level, and then when you go to print and say, we're about to put the turf now, and wasn't there someone who's qualified enough to know before we put the turf? I didn't see the markings
Drainage
and
pipes or
the drainage pipes for this stadium. So, which means someone there just had everything laid out. I can go Garakatarisa Swati Stadium Rabo. Or hoping that just like everything, break and I to see going down there.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and fortunately, I know a little bit about construction. Whether it's land or quantity. Yeah, and there's for every stage of where there's a building or the road, someone senior has to sign off.
There we go.
Every part of the building, as it's done, because you don't go to the next stage before that stage. So that's why you see sometimes they just say you could do certain things, other than what's holding you up, but you won't do it. The simple reason being that they're saying everything has got to be done in stages. Yeah. So someone, and it's either people. I would say people are probably not doing things by the book. Yeah, that's normally what would happen, because if people were doing something by the book, then there would be someone who would sign off to say, okay, this stage is done and we're going, we're not going to, we're going to on to the next one. But I think what I could also say possibly that could happen is that maybe on the plan, there was no room, or there wasn't any sort of resources for drainage, and then someone approves that drawing and say, you know what, yeah, it's still okay if we go without the drainage, because you cannot tell me that if the drainage is there, someone would sign and say it's done when it's not done, and neither would you have someone ignoring the drainage when it's on the plan and say, let's not do it, let's go on to the next stage. So this is something that is highly 99.9%, the people who should know about what was going on know what was going on. And that is the owner and the people who were working on that pitch. So it's a sad thing, because it kind of exposes us back as well to us being known as, sometimes we just cut corners and we get away with it, whereby if it's a building, say in developed countries or developed worlds, you're going to find it difficult, to go through something like that, without being stopped, because it's like even the council here, if you want to put something, no matter how much money you have to have planning permission. Yeah. If you do it the wrong way, they'll tell you to demolish it. It's your money. It's your money. It's your land, but they will tell you what to do. So that should be the same there, because at the end of the day, drainage itself, there's a lot of safety issues there. People break their legs. Players break their legs because of, not even just players, it could be ball boys, it could be the ref, it could be, officials coming onto the pitch, and it could be anyone. So it's a bit strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
It's so disappointing that a guy spends so much money build the stadium, right? And the council is there. You can't tell me the council Kwekwe, whether it's Zimbabwe Rural Council, whether it's Kwekwe, whether it's, I don't know. One of them couldn't just come and say, Shamarona, you need drainage system up. And maybe if they told him, he was going to find, resources to have that put in.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, that guy, that stadium was built from the heart. That guy, he built that thing from the heart. He really wanted to have it done. So I don't think if he had been told, he was not going to look for money to do that. Someone, somewhere, let that happen, and it's knowing the consequences. Why I'm saying that, if you look at Muharare, I grew up Glenview 1, and between Glenview 1 and Glenview 7, you can't build there. That's plain. You can't build there. But houses were left to be built there. You see, this is the thing. And then council comes and says, you're not authorized to build here. But wait a minute. When they were building, who told the guy to build there? Someone somewhere made it happen. You know what I mean? So this is the thing. Like, if we're going to have people like Chahwanda, building stadiums, let council send in their people once in a while to assist him and say, listen, upon that drainage. And drainage, drainage doesn't have to go into the sewer system, whatever. It can just come out, go into Panzi. It can just come and could end this with Panzi. It didn't have to go, if it was issue of resources, but it should just have been done to take the water out. Same applies to that Gweru stadium. Same applies to Gibo. Vakomana, most of our players, we've lost many players in the PSL to knee injury. And I'll tell you what that knee injury, ACL. Most of these guys are going to my ACL. But you see, ACL
gets stuck in the turf.
So how many players were at risk of ACL injuries? And it takes a year to come back from an ACL operation. How many guys were at risk?
And Zimbabwe.
And the worst thing as well, you've realized that because Zimbabwe now we have women's football, that's one of the issues with women's bodies as well. ACL, it's a major, issue.
We do hope they.
ACL Mawan, same care, Australian superstar. She got injured ACL when she was at her peak. I'm telling you, but you can tell she's no longer the same person.
She's no longer the same, yeah.
Most of these footballers that get ACL, even Europe, they go and they come back. They're no longer the same. Look at Rodri, the Man City guy. He came back. He's not the same guy after that ACL. VVD, the only guy I've seen, one of the few I've seen. He's come back.
Yeah, but he's no longer.
They say ACL man.
I think if you want to go, you can go on and on with people we've had issues with ACL. Actually, try to think of anyone who had an ACL and has come back and played better than they were, or at least the same way. I don't remember any.
None. And it's also we are risking a total of 22 times how many games.
And bear in mind, we're talking about the first world country with the latest top-notch surgeons and equipment and all. But people still don't come back in the same in the sort of levels as they were.
Yeah.
And we're talking about 22 players on a pitch for every game. Times how many games? How many games they played that weekend? 4 or 5. How many players are we talking? Only know who at risk. You with my ACL,
Yeah.
or because someone wanted to take a box of 20 games were played. We cannot allow that. We are risking these guys. You see how our
Yeah.
standards keep falling. They get injured. They go. Who's going to end up? We're going to end up watching 15-year-olds.
Mm. Yeah, it's a bad situation. We hope they sort it out soon, and yeah, we can have a better football. Anyway, the next issue we've got, it's one that's gonna make us very unpopular, but I don't really care because we're here to say the truth. I posted earlier in the group one of the PSL rules. I was looking for these rules and I didn't know that we had this rule. So if you have seen, did you see the game played by Hunters? Did you see the Hunters logo, FC Hunters logo?
The
It's
logo.
the exact, yeah, their logo. It's the
No.
exact same logo that was being used by Ngombe in Division 1. So what's happened is Scott has taken over FC Hunters and he has put in someone who's seemingly running the club as a front. Then the former owner is now a minority owner, but sort of I'm not sure what position he has. So we've got Scott owning FC Hunters in real fact. We've got him owning Scottland as well. The franchise that he had, that Ngombe had in Division 1 has been taken over by a club called GT Mining. Then Scott is now sponsoring Kwekwe United as well, which is all good. He's also sponsoring Black Rhinos, which is all good. Mari toida, mari ngaipinde Bhora. But especially for the PSL, there are very, very big ethical problems. And during the past few days, we've been having very strong exchanges with some guys on the Facebook page because of that, because they're saying, you guys, you want to prevent money from coming in. But we're saying, no, pane mari yekuti aite, mari yekutengesa mai, kuenda kunokechesa mai. It's not money that you should accept. There are ethical rules that you shouldn't cross in football. So that ethical rule yekuti one man cannot own two clubs in the same league. It's one thing we shouldn't compromise. And so according to the PSL rules, it's Order 37.1, it says no club, director, official, or any player may either directly or deal in the securities or shares of another club. Then 37.1, no club, director, official, or player can be a member of another club. Then the other rule is be involved in any capacity whatsoever in the management, administration, or coaching of any other club. Then have any power on either a full-time basis with PSL League or ZIFA, or be employed by ZIFA. So essentially, if you're an owner of a club, you are not allowed to be involved with any other club. And I think the reasons for that are obvious. I've also checked out the FIFA rules. The FIFA rules say that in FIFA competitions, they do not allow anyone who owns shares or who owns two clubs at the same time to be involved in FIFA competitions. So it's like a precedent which is coming from FIFA. So why do we think it's normal for one person to own a club, and what are the solutions that we can offer kuti Kamnane Shungusterek to bring in money into football? What can they do instead of owning two clubs in the same league?
Let me calm down. This guy, when he came to Scotland, he had a vision. His vision was to have his own Galacticos. His vision was to have his own Galacticos that will dominate Zim football and for years to come. And this guy has got resources. That's undisputed. So he brought in his Scotland. They changed the setup. Yeah. The way those boys dress, the transport they use, everything about them changed. And it changed the way we look at the ZPSL. Simba Bhora followed suit. I don't know that Simba Bhora with him who started, but Simba Bhora, they followed suit. You could tell Simba Bhora when they used to go from our camps before games and all that, everything about them was a professional. But then, you see, when money takes precedence, you have a problem with moral decay. When money takes precedence, you have issues with moral decay. Morals go out the window. Because like you said, OJ, the question that comes from most people is, you want the money to come. Listen, we have ethics that are put in place. There are reasons why those rules are put there, right? And first and foremost, if we allow such things to happen, it means I want you to get me right. It means all fairness about the game goes out the window. Everything about the game, about the league being fair and, it goes out the window. It's gone. This guy owns Scotland. This guy owns Mumbai. This guy, he owns Hunters now, right? And then he sponsors Kwekwe United, right? Let's go back. Simba Bhora was leading the PSL race.
Sponsors Black Rhinos as well.
Let's go back to Simba Bhora. They were leading by 6-7 points. And they were tipped to retain that league. They go to that CAF African. He gives them 100,000, supposedly to help with their whatever African safari, what. What happened after that? They just started losing games. I'm not saying they sold the games or lost games on purpose, but I'm just saying, looking at it from an outside point, if you look at it and then you read, what happened, and then you look at them, you start thinking to yourself, did they really lose? Did they really lose these games? Or and then the next thing, Kwekwe United, he's sponsoring Kwekwe United. It doesn't matter whether he's sponsoring it directly or via a company he owns, because the proxy in that company that's sponsoring whoever is his. So it means this guy has influence everywhere in most of these teams in the Premier League, in Zimbabwe's PSL. Now, if it comes down to the crunch, say a team like Hard Rock in Scotland, they're going for the title, 1 game to go. They're separated by 2 points. Scotland needs 3 points to take the league. Hard Rock just needs a draw, and Scotland is playing Hunters. You tell me what the outcome of that game will be. Don't say it will be fair. It will be what. No. Already moral decay has taken over, has swept in. We have not ethics. We lack ethics. We are not ethical people who allow such things to happen. And then there are people who want to sanitize such moves and say, maybe it's a Saudi Arabia kind of. Listen. If it's a Saudi Arabia kind of state, the state, you see this Munhumutapa Cup, that's a state thing. That's why you have the president there. That's a state. That's a government. To show it was a government thing, the president was there. The man himself was there, and he gave it his blessings. That's when the state sponsors something, they do what is right for them to show you, Kuti, we are sponsoring this. They came and said, Munhumutapa Cup is being sponsored by the state. They have HE. He's there. He's saying, I'm giving my blessing to these boys, the government doing that. Then visitors here with clap hands. Is the government putting in money in there? You know, as I was shocked when I understand there Magwizi is doing that. That's the state. But what do you mean Magwizi? That's the state sponsoring that cup. And then someone else to say Kuti sponsoring Hunters, Scotland, Quip United, blah blah. It's a state thing. Listen, we are not in kindergarten or grade 1. We are not. When the state comes in, we know the state comes in. We will be told the state is sponsoring this thing. Don't come and say Kuti somehow the state is going and should advise someone. Why would they do that? Why would the government do that? If the government wants to sponsor a team, they will come out openly and say, we know Black Rhinos is an army team, don't we? Don't we? Black Rhinos ikashare buzz, ikapuwa zuko. No one will blink an eye because it's a government entity. It's sponsored by the government. We know it's a national army team. It's a government thing. No one blinks an eye because we know they fall under proxy government. But then if you privately say you are sponsoring Black Rhinos, Black Rhinos is a Scotland and Scotland needs a point. What do you think is going to happen? If Hunters plays another team, Hard Rock, and Scotland needs a point to win the league, what do you think is going to happen? We are sanitizing Zimbabwe. We are normalizing the abnormal. All in the name of Kunza. Let teams find sponsorships. Let teams find sponsorships elsewhere. There are so many corporate companies in Zimbabwe that can sponsor Bhora, that can sponsor these teams. They need to be. See, that's why you need a population and a marketing team to market the team to potential sponsors. You don't market a team on Garama office, which by phone. You need to be aggressive. Aggressive marketing gets you customers, gets you places. The FA is the most watched league in the world. Do you know why? Marketing a FA is brutal. Marketing, you know that, OJ. Kev, you know that marketing a FA is brutal. If you don't broadcast EPL in Australia, people don't watch TV. People would rather watch Netflix and one. But people watch TV, watch 10 because Bhora Champions, 10 has got Champions League, has got EPL. You know, BIN has got FA Cup, Carabao. You see, it's aggressive marketing, but then it's supposed to, as Nabasa, it's all about the money. It won't affect anything. It's just sponsorship. Generally, do not play with such things like this. That's why FIFA has stipulations that say I was looking at the FIFA ones, FIFA does not allow for one individual to own two teams in the same league. And they say the mandate also, but in the end, the mandate in the FIFA ruling says the mandate eventually ends with the local authority, which is the PSL of Zimbabwe. You understand? But still, we cannot allow such things to happen because morally it's wrong. It's wrong on all levels. It doesn't matter how much you want to sanitize. It doesn't matter what kind of explanations you're going to bring to me. If I'm standing on a platform, I'm looking at who's going to be affected, who's going to lose in this thing. When the big boys and the small boys come together in a feeding frenzy, the small boys are going to suffer because the big boys are going to eat first. You understand? So all these small teams suffer in the end. So in the end, to delayed matches. In the end, we're watching delayed matches. Someone came out at this way almost scored his own team. The last game, Yakatamba, Scotland is some team. I was one of those who thought that guy wanted to score, but looking from a different angle, no, he really went for that ball. He wanted to head the ball out. But the second one wanted to shoot his own goal.
Guy.
That one is
Suspect.
They don't want to be shooting his own goal. But I'm saying, at the end of the day, we should not lose morale and ethics because of money. Money should not take precedence. The problem when money takes precedence, everything else loses value. Everything else just goes out the window. And that's when we start pointing at each other. At 10 years, we start asking each other, where did we go wrong? This is where we are going wrong. Then you put a stop. Why does one have two teams in the Premier League? Why does one have two teams playing the same league? In English, what I'm trying to understand. Why does one have two teams there? What's the end goal? Could you either way I win? Is that the thing? Could you either way, either Hunters Chirika win and the winner, Scotland win and the winner. Come on. You look, you're either going to win, either or. You're going to win. You know, you've got the best sponsored team in the league. By those guys, they're five steps ahead of every other team when it comes to sponsorship organization. You've got some of the country's best known players in your squad. I was looking at their technical team. Even if you read their technical team, this is serious stuff going on right here. And then you go and have Peter Love. You go and have Norman Mapeza. You go and have
big names, all big names, and
that's
very
massive. That's a team.
full complement.
Yes, that's a team that's telling you, we are ready for this. And it is. So what's the point then of the greed? You don't have to be greedy. Deal with it. Zikaramba, you have a technical team, but where did we go wrong? Who needs to go? Who needs to stay? You know, and improve your team. That's how you win. You don't have TP Mazembe. That dude was bust up. But did you ever hear Kutanzi sponsors another team in the league here, JRC? No. He sponsored only TP Mazembe. Full focus was on TP Mazembe. We don't need to have one guy controlling 2-3 entities in the name of sponsorship. Come on, fellas, we don't do that. Let's not queue for football, all because we're being slaves to money.
Yeah.
Yeah. With me, I'll come in. I won't have much to say because I'm kind of running out of time here. But I hear, had every point, that Ray made, yeah. And this is how I look at it. And even though it's a different scenario, but the thinking could be the same, and you understand when I finish what I mean. So Chelsea owners have got a team in America, they've got a team in Belgium, yeah, so they've got 3 teams, yeah. You have people are investing in teams, yeah. And then you have Manchester United, you have, say, Radcliffe, with the Marseille, yeah, the France, and even Tottenham as well.
Yeah.
Investment in Tottenham. So these things happen. The only difference is how it happens. Because the most important thing when everything is said and done is about integrity. Integrity. And making sure that there is not even a single iota of rule bending or any team giving the slightest of advantages to any other team or any other player based on the people who are investing in those teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you lose credibility in the integrity in football, it's no longer football. Right. So where the problem now lies is because I was thinking long and hard about it. Scott Sakupkwanya, in my eyes, has done nothing wrong. And I'll tell you why. He's done nothing wrong because just like the investors I've just mentioned, with these teams, with the European counterparts and all that, yeah, there is a successful guy who's got money and who's trying to spread his wing. Yeah. It's not his job to have those wings clipped. Yeah. He will try to invest and put his money wherever he thinks, his money can go. But it's down to the people who control the game to say, no, you can't do this. Yes, you can do this. No, you can't do this. Yes, you can do this. And that is where the problem has been. The problem has been because the governors of our football have allowed it. They have let things that could potentially, even if let's just say there was never going to be anything untoward. The fact that there's room for integrity issues to come about makes it a problem.
Yeah.
Makes it a problem. Because like what's happening, I looked at, you've just said, like the two nearly own goals here. I looked at them, but I looked at them from a football person's point of view. And I saw that those were things that happen in football.
Yeah.
Once I brought the situation into the equation, that also gave me doubts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the same problem, the same issues that happen, the same scenario, but we're looking at it from two different angles. One from a footballer angle, it's things that happen, but once we look at it and say, oh, but this team, the owner invested in that team and blah, 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 then all of a sudden you're thinking, yeah, but what if I'm wrong? What if something untoward was happening there? So that alone, even if there was nothing untoward, that alone, the fact that people have to think like that, it becomes a problem. Football should never be put in that sort of situation. But the person or the people who should have been dealing with that are not doing their job. They're not doing their job because Scott thinking that he can invest in teams, he can put money in teams, yeah. It's working for those people because their players are being paid, the clubs are doing okay and all that. But that doesn't make it right, because the most important thing in the game has been ruined. Because as long as that status quo remains, everyone is always going to look at it from a point of where, what if you need a point? What if you need 3 points and you're playing against a team that you're giving money to? So that issue is always going to be there. And I'm afraid that's on all the things that you can have a problem with in football. That's the one thing that kills the game. Yeah. Because it's you can equate it to players when they bet and they're banned from betting. Yeah,
exactly.
And you see that many a times they're not even betting on their teams.
Yeah,
and their own teams, they're betting for other teams. But the simple fact that they play in the Premier League causes a problem, because all sorts of things can be thought, like, oh, what if you're not doing it directly, but maybe you've got a friend who plays for Fulham and he ends up doing that, and you end up, winning people a lot of money, or winning yourselves a lot of money through that, because you're sort of colluding, yeah? So that can sound far-fetched, but the bottom line is it can happen. So the very fact that people are thinking in that way is problematic. So I do not deny, what things that's been mentioned, by Ray, because I think everything that you've said is solid. Yeah. The only issue that I have there is that we are letting him do that.
Yeah.
Or the system is letting him do that, or the people who are supposed to be governing the game are letting him do that.
Yeah.
And he's not committing a crime per se, but he's being allowed to do things that puts the game into disrepute.
Yeah.
Into doubt. Because if people were doing their jobs there, they'll be saying, excuse me, sir, with all the money that you have, if you put money into this team, then you have to, you no longer, you have to choose between being the Scotland go-to guy or Hunters or whatever, and say there's no way that you're going to contribute to that team directly or indirectly. Yeah. So if there's no one who's doing that, or if those people who are supposed to be doing that are colluding with him, then the game is gone.
Yeah, the game is gone. I was just thinking when you were talking that I think in the late 90s or the early 2000s, what was the league that was the go-to league in the world? It was the Italian league. The best players played the Italian league, and Batistuta, and Ronaldo, the real Ronaldo. Every big player was there in the Italian league with the AC Milans and the Juves. But due to my scandal, match fixing and whatever, the lack of integrity in the Italian game, ever since my 2000, the Italian game has never recovered because once you lose your integrity or once you lose that aura, we believe that the game which is being played fairly, then we lose the interest in that football. And also I was researching this, I noticed that China, they recently had 12 teams being deducted my points, and about 70 were banned for life due to my issues here, match fixing and spot fixing and the lack of integrity. So it may seem like a very simple thing, and it's something that we should just let go, but it's something that will affect us for life, even my foreign audiences, because once we are done with the Zimbabwean audience, we want SADC to start watching our football. And if they are to watch our football, they have to believe that if Hard Rock is playing Timbare, it's a real game, it's a proper game. If Highlanders is playing Dynamos, it's a real rivalry. So yeah, integrity is a very big thing.
Yeah. Can I quickly say something? Sorry. Can I quickly say something? If you imagine, where you realize how grave this is, what Juventus was relegated for, what Rangers was relegated for, what Man City are in trouble for, those things are not as bad integrity-wise as having a situation where you can literally influence another team because you have resources in there and influence the league, whether it's the league championship or the relegation. That will be a worse accusation than being accused of playing with the books, to try to get certain monies into the system which shouldn't be in there. You see, that's a big problem we have there.
Yeah, it's a big one. I was just searching Pamamchitaranya Ineos. So Ineos, they discontinued their sponsorship here at Tottenham in 2025, March 2025, due to some legal issues. But Ineos was kind of sponsoring Tottenham through their brand, Motor Grenadier.
Petronas,
Yes. So he was not really directly involved as an owner. So I think if it was sponsorship, maybe, but still there will be some ethical issues there.
It's still Ratcliffe though, because he's the main man, in that company, and it had something to do with cars, with Land Rovers. With Land Rovers. So it was still his baby. And he had to cater that, what they said that he has to, they have to work, they have to work out something with Tottenham because he had to decide. Obviously, he was going to go for Manchester United because he's invested more money into Manchester United, but that itself was questioned, because it could potentially have, some difficult, sort of distribute issues, in the league. Football anywhere in the world should never be allowed for decisions to be made based on someone controlling two teams.
The question:
what do you mean by when?
Like he has always been a shareholder or akazoita a major shareholder, because remember when Manchester United, when they're going on an up and down situation, and most of the fans were saying they're blaming the American guys, the owners, the Glazers, isn't it? Is it the Glazers?
Yeah.
And then And then something soon after that, the Yakataka Redcliffe has taken over and things changed. Why I'm asking that question, and he had a stake in Tottenham and he had a stake. I don't know whether he had a stake then or not in Manchester United, but the moment his stake grew bigger in Manchester United, issues came out with his stake in Tottenham. That's why the legal things came in and then he had to let go.
Yeah.
Can you see where I'm coming from? You see what I'm trying to picture?
Yeah.
Before he was not in there because he was
controlling stake.
He had your small fish. But when he became the big dog in there, something the legal things came in. See, integrity is easily corrupted the moment such things are let go. You see, Man City, they own New York City. They own Melbourne City. Wherever they go, they own Melbourne City. Same applies to Chelsea. Once you cross that line, and you give them room to do that because you're coming after me because this team is doing it well. You know what I mean? See, as long as their integrity remains stable and solid, their stake, their league goes higher. Italian league has been corrupted so much. They are come back. Look at the decline. We always knew Champions League. Kuvakudara was dominated by Italian teams. Mostly was Italian teams. Before the Spanish teams, before the English teams, it was Spanish league that dominated. It was Italian league that dominated EPL. I mean, the Champions League, sorry. But since Juve and all that, they've gone down so much. Italian leagues. Look at Juve. Juve. Is that the Juventus that we know? That's not Juve, it was Ziva.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. The point I was making there is if you let if you give people room to do stuff like that, they'll test the waters. And it's down to you as the responsible governors, what to say. No, this ain't happening. Because if you don't, people push boundaries. That's the same thing that's happened with Manchester City, that Manchester City pushed boundaries, on what, because they had to circumvent, the rules that were there to try to maximize, what the money they can put in the club. Yeah. So they pushed the boundaries, and they pushed them for so long. That's the reason why they issued dates back to years. Up until the FA said, no, we found this. But you know what? The way that they did it was more difficult to figure out or to find out, whereby with the Scotland issue, it's straightforward, right in your face. It doesn't didn't even need 2 days to think about. Straight away you could tell that there's a problem there, and that problem should have been dealt if there were no laws.
The rules are very straight,
and the rules are there as well.
It's a sad turn of events that we let things go to that level. We don't uphold the integrity, the morals of our associations. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Munhumutapa. There's always, we don't look after the girl child. We don't look after the girl cup. How much are the women getting? You'll be shocked at how much they're getting. You'll be shocked.
I can hear you guys. I'm just going to go off camera, but I can hear you.
Okay. It's all right, Kevin.
There's always going to be talk about what about the girl child? What about the girl child? Yeah. And then it brings back so many questions. So many questions now are raised. And then this is where we bring in the issue with who has access, which journalists and media have access to these people to ask the question. Do they ask the right questions?
No,
are they there to ask the right questions, or they're just there to say, I was there. Kuti, I was there. Ndakabvunza kuti, who's your favorite player? Akati ndiningi. You're not there to ask him who's your favorite player. No. Ask pertinent questions. Ask the more you ask the important questions. Listen, you guys, Mati Zakat, you are giving kids 100,000. This is the future of Zimbabwe football. Where are we going in any 100,000? Right now, Uzanfisa knows Water Ringers. Water son.
He's doing very well.
I respect that.
Very well.
That fella has got love for junior development in Bhora. He's got so much love for junior development Bhora. Just like, in a way, he got sponsors from China and so forth. And every time and again, Walter is having tournaments for these youngsters. He's trying to encourage kids to come up.
No, he was actually frustrated during the elections. They frustrated him, and I think they also frustrated him afterwards.
As a development manager, whatever development president, why won't you put someone? Why won't you put someone and that
track record?
And a track record Yekuda Bhora, in development Yevafana like that. Why won't you put someone like that? Because it's already in him. You can tell it's really mad. He loves it. He's not good. He's just doing it because power position. He's been doing it and he's still doing it even though might I say Mamusia. These are the guys that I'm saying, where are the journalists? And then you have also issue this lady, Queen 15, has been Mighty Warriors coach for Lord knows. How many years did it? Change way. Why hasn't that changed way? And who said good coach of Bhora Wakadzi? Who said that?
They created allegations for that guy. They created.
You see, this is the thing. You see, Kevin talked about integrity, and this is where all these things come to play. Coach here, why are you getting to, you're coaching a women's team. Why are you getting to personal levels like that? Name a players, each card. If you're a coach, do your business and go. There's so many guys that coach their women's teams in. And those things are never raised. Why? Because they draw a line, integrity, ethics. You draw a line, after this line and put it with a player. It doesn't matter. He's also good player wants to be, coach wants to be friends with the player.
Yeah, that's messed up. And it's not professional.
We come back to Scotland and sponsorship. Yes, Kevin is right. It's for Taisha's coach. Murkumupa mkanayo. He's going to take it. He's going to take it.
Yeah, because there are no controls.
There are no controls. Why are you letting it happen?
Yeah,
why? Shamari, you see, people, Scottland Bhora, listen, Scottland Bhora, in that I want to, you see, I'll tell you, I'll call out the good and the bad. The good about Scottland Bhora, look at how Scotland FC is taken care of.
Very professional.
Galactico. Those guys are Galacticos. They do. Only Black Rhinos say that Basil Bogdara. But now Scotland are the top dogs. I'm facing Bhora and he makes sure those guys are taken care of. He makes sure he's got the right people in the position. That's why he even went and got Peter Ndo. That's why he went and got Norman Mapes. He loves Bhora. But in his love for Bhora, let's put Gatti say things to rein him in.
Guidelines to guide him so that he can go into the right.
You can't let him run with it. That's why Munhumutapa sponsor a good OT coach. That's not ethical. That's not ethical. I love Cape United. If I want to sponsor Cape United, I want to sponsor Cape United because I love Cape United. And in return for my sponsorship, I want to see how the boys are taken care of in camp, what they're wearing, what they're eating, and see their welfare, how they come to Bhora. It's my stage, and then I want to see results. Remember Roman Abramovich. Say what you want about him. Hey, he's an obliak, whatever. That's media is setting narrative.
That's
nonsense. Munhumutapa is corrupt at some point.
Yeah.
It's Roman after Chelsea Chelsea, and Roman said, Roman is a winner. Roman was a winner. I want results. I said, coach up. What do you want from me? Coach, I want players. Which players in particular? Now I'll tell you what I want. I want to win the EPL. I want to win the Champions League. Go. No, I don't get Tadza. You're fired. Next guy comes in. I want to learn ningi to bow in. Let's go. Coach, you gotta go.
Can go. Yeah.
You see, this is what sponsorship is all about. Give the coach what he wants and stand back and tell him that title. You don't tell him kuti do that coach you. You have a board that does that appoint a coach who
Yeah.
meets your demand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the next stage.
Remember, we're talking about integrity in ethics.
Yeah, that's the next stage. Yeah, that's
There's
the
nothing that will
next
stop you
stage.
because you've been allowed to. This is the thing. Kuti Vanoda, what's the end result going to be?
Don't be.
What is the end result? What's the end result going to be? What will stop them from even saying good national team that's what's going to stop them from doing that?
Yeah, and it explains some of the selections.
Make game day.
Yeah.
But justify that.
No, you can't. You can't.
You
Even
cannot.
no man can see good this boy is not right.
But they wanted us to believe Kuti, there was something, there was something special about him. This is what I'm saying, Kuti, when money takes precedence, and when we have people who have overtly too much control, overtly too much control in a setup, that setup needs to be changed. If you have people who are compromised, in a setup that governs, whether it's a football team that governs a company, those people need to go. Because slowly but surely, if you take a rotten apple, put in the middle of other healthy apples, what's going to happen?
To spread the rottenness.
The whole basket goes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the whole basket goes. Bhora Zimbabwe, we've got someone, we've got serious bowlers. We've got serious bowlers. Some of these guys are from Nigeria. Wakamutana vachitaura pamainterviews. But this musauza. Uzonoti anonzi onini. Utana kuti, my mom said, what were you doing? Why did you let that guy do that to you? This guy is Nigerian. Akazarwa ikoko, but vakamuudza kuti iwe shamwari, you come and play here. Home is here.
Yeah.
You don't market a player. You don't market a player by forcing him to team same team. You market a player that has the then you market a player. You don't need Mashani say you don't need to put up money to them team kutanti wanamuone. Wachamuona. Nyama inonaka inotaura yega. Samson the Bull CSC. Advert. Nyama inonaka inotaura yega. Ichi chimpana jane vamwe. After zakwana ku Barnsley. Look, he's just gone to Barnsley. Anjika, it's what depend on a coach foot.
He's injured.
You see, whatever the case is, what depend on a coach. But the fact that Barnsley says a lot about him. And 18 years. He came from the Premier League. At 18. Coach Wachakatawaragati, he would be playing, but Mpana is giving more.
Yeah.
But the captain Wenyiga, ask the captain Wenyiga. No, I have nothing against him. He's done a lot. I have nothing against him against Marvelous, but we want to captain Wenyiga.
As it stands.
Why do you want to captain Wenyiga in that time? What are we saying? Who is linked to? In phase one?
Scott.
Manji. Let's stop all this. Let's stop all this. All this good boy image. But the right one and far rest, I want to say the right things. Let's call a spade, period. It's wrong. So Faran.
Yeah.
Government gives you 25 mil. Wakumana, name that government it is 25 meter from the government. Every team, we buy them a kids. Bull that. They're coming from household kusinamari. Let's not pretend like we don't know. Their parents struggle, but mwana ane talent. But I don't know what, and I can't even afford shoes. And then what? Because vanenda kuchikoro nemahelicopter achazogwesha. No. Let's get the kid Papa Dane. Let his mind be changed. All he now knows is Kumba, Bhora. There's a guy I want you to look for. Anonzi. Uzasema makakatanga chiche. He's South African. Uzakatanga chiche. He studied sports science. I chance a cell phone, mobile phone. Oyenda ku grounds. Ono toti, look at this boy. Otanga kutreka mpana yeye, onobvunza mpana yeye, where are you from? Unogara kupi? Unogara nani? Achimtreka. Umaita zvoona kuti no man, this guy is an eye for talent. So how do we market our products through this guy? Andidi.
Okay.
I don't know what happens. Yeah. Stars of Africa Academy, he comes in Facebook. Dovalam Tora. He's a scout. Let me tell you, Panempana nonzi vanuti Moruti, the priest. Muru, he grew up in the slums. Even my hostels. Okay. Don't know. Anenga chiti. Achamarano kuzocha okumana teta. Stay in school. Focus on football.
Focus on football.
This guy, he's just a talent scout.
Yeah.
But he was roped in because of his love for the game. Not this guy is a nobody. But I'm telling you, look for Stars of Africa, Instagram, TikTok, even whatever, look for them. I don't send in the market. Look at somebody weight rate, even off season. But on their own, they're only 11, 12 years. These kids are working out. You can tell with the focus, it's now ingrained in them.
Yeah, they've been taught.
Going that way. But it's also very Peter said, good for us, Namara time.
Yeah. Yeah,
we cannot be the same.
Sad,
it's a sad
situation.
It's a state of affairs. It is. We need 25 meter. Government just took 25 meter, 5 mil every year. Government I share 5 million every year. Hakuna kunyeperana. Akavachatipa 5 million. Give more money to like Kevi said. They're taking care of Lima clubs. They don't need, all they need is a winning prize, a trophy.
Yeah.
They need nothing else.
Yeah.
But Vana needs development.
Let's use that money. Probably just help the lower clubs with logistics, probably. But for the bigger clubs, it shouldn't be any problem.
They can call us names, they can do whatever they are, but we always stand. We'll stand on the truth. We'll stand on point. We'll stand on facts. We'll stand on truth.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't. Shamari, Bhora is our thing. We're born and bred. We live football. This is our thing. We are hurting when we know what our country can do. When we know what they can do. Remember under 23, Yana Peter and Lovu, even from North Africa to South,
everyone knew.
And then we plunged. Someone we plunged. And you see, I don't understand it. We've got former players. What. Chance. Someone needs to answer me. Chance. I want to know why was Singapore.
Yeah, they won't give them
why?
I guess if you're someone who has an opinion, you will never get a chance. But unfortunately, usually, geniuses always have an opinion. So, yeah, it's always crazy. And it's thank you all for being with us. Kev, are you still here? I just had one more issue to deal with, then we go. No.
I can't hear you, OJ. You know, it's been echoing. You've been echoing for probably half an hour. I was struggling to hear you, OJ.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I could hear you, but then it was just echoing.
Just echoing.
So
all right. Yeah, it's just frozen. I think we're just concluding now. I think the last issue we wanted to speak about is
I was listening. I was listening. Yeah, I had all the Samsung.
Yeah, that was Ray for you.
That's Ray's statement. Yeah.
Ray is always exciting with his passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to talk about was if you watch the game here, Hard Rock and Scotland, the
I didn't watch
quality.
the game. Like I said, I've been busy.
Did you
I
see
didn't
any
watch the game,
shots?
but I saw the part which I mentioned, the controversial
Yeah,
part,
yeah,
which obviously I thought is very possible that, but I didn't see anything malice, on it. But then
yeah,
when you then look at the circumstances, you don't blame why people think, it's a bit dodgy,
yeah,
this. Yeah, because it could
yeah,
be,
yeah. You
there's
never
no,
know.
you never know. You just never know. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing that concerned me was the picture quality, because I remember watching football back in the late 90s or the early 2000s. The picture quality that ZPC was giving back then seems to be better than the picture quality we have now. We are not even talking about the commentary. So because media is the big thing which brings in money. So if we don't have quality in terms of the way we broadcast our football, how do we
Yeah.
expect sponsors to come in or to sell my TV rights? It's a very big thing.
The little we have to show. We have to show a bit of professionalism to attract, sponsors. Sponsors want to come in normally is something that looks good already,
Yeah,
and to make it better. But they're not willing to come in to shade the thing with the hope that maybe when they put their monies in there, then it will look better.
yeah,
The whole reason is about the audience here. So yeah, we don't help ourselves, in that. I think there's a lot of things that need to happen, and that's why I wished, that money is very much needed, But I think it should have gone towards development,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's right.
sometimes you can't tell people what they want with their
What to
money.
do with
You
their
could say,
money.
you will hope you would have done the event. They say, no, this is what we want, our money to go
Mm.
towards.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't help it. Yeah. Do you have anything further for this week? I think we're almost
Ah,
done.
no,
Yeah.
not that was all me today. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining. And to all those who are watching, thank you for joining us. And please do bring in your comments and please do share the videos. Press the like button so that it gets to a wider audience. And what brings us here is our passion for football. And we may say things that you may not agree with, but we say things all in a good heart and all for the best of Zimbabwean football because we all love Zimbabwean football. So yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Cheers. Cheers,
Cheers.
Jen. Okay. Bye. Bye.